Hello, Ramley and other NFL family, especially Giants family. Welcome to another episode of MOOF. Wow, episode 25. We are interviewing one fan from every NFL team to gauge where their optimism level is. Because if you can't be optimistic about your team this time of year when everybody is 0-0, when can you be? My guest today is Jamie from New York Giants Family Bonding. And Jamie and his mother have an amazing YouTube channel. You need to subscribe to it. The link to it is in the description below. They are phenomenal. You're going to see Jamie. He's an amazing guest. I hope that you see just how amazing he is in a moment's time. But we're going to talk about the New York Giants. They're a team that had a rough year last year, to say the least. Rough from a on the field product, but also off the field, medium soda scandal. Lots to talk about, and we're going to see how optimistic Giants fans are feeling right now, right after this. Welcome in, Jamie. How are you today?
I am excited, man. I'm happy to be here, Peo. Thank you, everybody, and welcome to a duo stream with your boy Jay Smooth, a.k.a. Jamie, from Family Bonding, New York Giants football podcast for the Mother and Son postgame show. And I am very excited to get through this drama that is the New York Giants, man. It really is like a soap opera at this point. Where do you want me to begin?
Yeah, we'll get into the breakdown here. I love to give a couple of shout outs from the chat. So Grandizer, always a pleasure to see you here, moderator extraordinaire. SM is here. Love that you're here, man. But Grandizer loves to start off with this question. We like to get to know our guests. How did you become a Giants fan? Who are some of your favorite Giants players on offense, defense, or special teams? But and are there any specific Giants jerseys that you own? I see. Who are you wearing right now?
This is Saquon Barkley.
Barkley, cool.
I wasn't sure who to wear. I was like, I guess I'll just be current because I got some old ones in there too. So these are some very good questions. Let's start off with how did I become a Giants fan? Well, it all started when I was about 3 or 4 years old, and my mom was just watching the Giants on TV at the time. And this is when I could really start remembering things. And I was watching it. And naturally, I liked the team that was wearing blue, which was the Giants. And I don't remember exactly who they were playing. But from that point on, I watched football with my mom, like on a regular basis. If we were at a family event, we'd all watch football. Everybody in my family, I don't want to say everybody, but majority of the people in my family are Giants fans. We have some strays that kind of got lost somehow and became like 49ers fans. We have a Patriots fan. I don't know how that happened. I don't know how that happened, but that's one of my uncles. He's a Patriots fan. I don't know. That was a mistake. We don't have any Cowboys fans that I'm aware of, and if they are, they're hiding. But we do have 2 Eagles fans. We try to not talk to them about football a lot because it always gets intense. but for the majority of my life, Giants fan.
Yeah, every family has those, ugly ducklings.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And I've always been a diehard. I watch them every season. I've watched all the good times and the bad times, more recently the bad times. And I watch every game. No matter what happens, I watch it from start to finish. We could be losing 60-0. I'm watching it. Just because.
Jamie, something I really appreciate about you is how critical you are of the Giants, but you still love them so much. And I think, and I don't want to misquote you, I remember in one of your videos, you said the Giants were borderline unwatchable last year. And I appreciated that honesty and the fact that you still watch them, even though because the Rams had some of those years back in the day. Like I remember the Jeff Fisher era, but we're here to talk about the Giants. And so let's think of some of the good times. Who are some of your favorite players in Giants history?
So favorite players right off the bat, Lawrence Taylor, who obviously I wasn't even alive really when he was playing, but like I got to watch highlights of him. And when I started learning about Giants history, I'd watch his highlights. So that's number one favorite. Michael Strahan, Victor Cruz, who I actually got to meet at a Giants game, and he actually autographed this hat.
That's so
Here's the
cool.
proof if you want to see it
No
right there.
way. Oh,
Yeah. I was actually freaking out when I met him. I didn't know what to say. Like when I got up there, I was just like, okay, you're gonna say this, this, and that. But when I got up to him, I was just like, you're like my idol, man. That's all I could say. And then he was like, hey, I appreciate it. I was like, I watch Ballers. I loved you in Ballers. Like, and he was so impressed that I even realized that, because I mean, I don't know if anyone really watches Ballers with The Rock and everything in it on HBO, but he was in there as a guest actor, and I watched every time I saw him. I was always hyped, and that meant a lot to him. So it was cool to see. Like, he's a very nice guy.
Yeah.
Ahmad Bradshaw, that's another one. I actually got to meet him too. I got to meet Justin Tuck. I didn't get to meet Eli, but of course Eli Manning, and I have a very hard time defending him when people want to talk about him not being one of the greatest. And I'm like, I don't want to say he's one of the greatest, but he's definitely up there. I mean, when you look at his stats, he's in the top 10 for passing yards, and like he has 2 rings against Tom Brady, who is the so-called number 1 greatest player of all time. Again, I have an issue with that too, but I will say that Tom Brady is probably the best player ever in football.
Okay, cool.
But I hate saying that. I despise Tom Brady. Anybody who knows me, that's hard for me to say that. But it's just the history and all of that with Eli Manning, man. That's why I like him. And it's a love-hate relationship. It's not like all love. Like, there were times when Eli, I wanted to strangle him. And like you can't help it. But let's see, who else? There's so many players. The list goes on. I could start off with I liked Plaxico Burress for a little bit, although that whole issue again, roller coaster. It's a drama. The New York Giants franchise is a roller coaster of drama. You go from the highs of some of the best, like Brandon Jacobs. He was great for all of 2 seasons, and then after that, it was just nothing. So like, I have so many players, but the top 5 is easily Lawrence Taylor, Michael Strahan, Eli Manning, Victor Cruz, and Justin Tuck. That's my top 5 favorite players for Giants.
Okay.
Easy.
Oh,
No issues there. And if you see behind me, I'm sorry to cut you off. If you see behind me, this is a Stephen Baker autograph picture. I actually got to meet Stephen Baker from the 80s. I think that's 1985 or 86. I can't remember which Super Bowl it was. But I actually got to meet him too. I don't have him as one of my favorite players because, number one, I didn't really get to see him play, and I don't know much about him. I actually recently found out about him when my mom got to meet him before me. So, like, there's some Giants players who I actually got to meet way before I was even alive.
Okay, no, cool. And speaking of the Giants, I do got to give out. We got a Giants fan in the chat.
Hey,
yeah, you see one of your
Sorry. Anytime I see a Giants fan, I get hyped.
Yeah, no, that's exciting. Well, definitely, Rebel VFX. You want to make sure you're subscribed to New York Family Bonding. Link to his channel is in the description below. But shout out, we got Bengals Report 18. Always a pleasure. Good to see you. Michael's in here. Yeah, he's talking about Bill Belichick. Wait, since he's the defense coordinator with the team. Oh, yeah, that's funny.
That's a good one.
Oh, that's awesome, Michael.
That's funny. That's really funny.
Okay, we'll take one more question here, and then we're going to get into the predictions here.
Okay.
Can you give kind of your general thoughts on the Giants draft picks? Do you think they had a good draft? Grandizer here is saying he loved the Darian Beavers pick.
I love that pick too. Honestly, when we got Darian Beavers, there was a mock draft I had looked into that said we would get him, and I looked up his tape, and I must have watched his tape for like 45 minutes, and I was just like, he's a really good pick for late in the draft, honestly. And he recently got a would-be sack in practice when they were practicing before they had pads on, and he was getting in the backfield a lot, but like, obviously he didn't hit Daniel Jones or Tyrod Taylor, but he was getting in the backfield a lot. So I'm excited to see what he does if he actually does make the roster, which I think he will. But that draft overall, this is probably one of the best drafts I've seen them do in years because we finally addressed what we needed. And Dave Gettleman, I hate saying his name. he would always promise that he would get us what we wanted. And then it would never be what we wanted. It would always be something that he thought was just, a steal per se. And most of those steals haven't done anything. So it's just like to see an actual draft go the way we wanted it to. And even that I mocked it that way, I was like, we're going to get Kayvon Thibodeau at 5. Like, if he's there, you pick him. And that's exactly what we did. And I was like, you know what? I don't really care about anything else in the draft. That was it for me. Like, I was just so excited about that. And then knowing that we were going to get either Evan Neal or Ikem Ekwonu, it didn't matter. Either one was a great pick. I wanted Ikem Ekwonu, but it's fine. I'll take Evan Neal. He's definitely probably the better pick for the Giants. He fits better after seeing him in practice from what I've seen so far. So I think the draft overall was great. I'd give it a solid A-, like mainly because you don't want to ever give it an A. We're still rebuilding. We have to see how it executes.
Yeah.
I don't want to be too hype. I try to be realistic as possible, but I think it can execute really well with those guys, provided they stay healthy. And as you know, for Giants fans out there who are watching right now, health is an issue that we've always had everywhere, not just on one side of the ball. It's like everywhere. So we just have to pray that everything goes the way it needs to go.
Well, we are going to get into the prediction here. I see a couple questions in the chat. We're going to save those for later on in the episode. But if you're watching live with us, thanks for tuning on in. You can predict alongside Jamie as we go through the games. If you think the Giants are going to win, put a W in the chat. If you think they're going to lose, put an L in the chat. And if you think they're going to tie, I hate ties.
I don't even think.
Put the T in the chat.
There's going to be at least one tie.
Yeah.
Somewhere. Someone's going to put it.
Well, starting off, the Giants are on the road. They're traveling to Tennessee to take on the Titans week 1 of the year. Win or lose, what are your thoughts on this game, Jamie?
That's going to be a rough game. I think since we have a young defense, it's going to be difficult for them to get adjusted to a powerhouse like Derrick Henry. It's going to be definitely a welcome to the NFL type of game for a lot of young guys. That game, they're the first team. I think they're the first in the AFC South in terms of power rankings. So, and they're in the top 15 in the NFL in terms of power rankings. That's not a very good welcome to the NFL for young guys. And the Giants' track record is not great in season openers. We're 0-5 in the last 5 season openers.
Ouch.
So I'm going to have to say that's an L, like in my unbiased opinion.
Okay.
Maybe we can give them a good run for their money. Maybe. But I don't think it's a win. I think it's going to be maybe a close game, but we lose. Okay.
Well, the chat is agreeing with you with the L there. And then week 2, it's your home opener, and you are taking on the Carolina Panthers. Win or lose against Carolina?
I have mixed feelings about this because another bad stat. We're 0-6 in home openers in the last 6 years. And I've been to a couple of those L home openers. So the last one I went to, we lost by 2 points in the final 30 seconds of the game. I want to say that we win because we beat them last year and they're kind of having a quarterback issue. But if Christian McCaffrey is healthy, that could go either way. But I think just off of just history, I'm going to give us the benefit of the doubt here and say that they surprise the NFL world and we get our first home opener win in the last 6 years. Okay. I like that's what I'm going to go with. That's what we like to see on MOOF. Okay, that's awesome. I do see a couple of L's in the chat. Warranted. It's warranted.
Also a couple of W's in there as well. So
no pity for Caddy.
No pity for the kitty. As Grant
That's funny. That's funny.
Whenever there's a cat team, Grant Azure always says that. Michael also thinks that. Okay, so you're 1-1 on the year. And then, oh boy, your only primetime game of the year, Monday Night Football. You welcome in the Dallas Cowboys, first divisional matchup of the year. Win or lose?
This is a setup.
Giants versus Cowboys.
This is a setup because, like you said, it's our only prime time of the year. And, of course, it's against a division rival that's beaten us 9 out of the last 10 times in the past couple of seasons. So I'm going to have to be realistic as possible here and say that we lose.
Okay.
Even though it's home, I don't know. The Giants can surprise you. I'm going to go with flat out L for right now.
Okay.
The Giants in me, the diehard Giants fan in me wants to say we win, but it's not. I don't think it's feasible.
Okay.
I don't.
I am seeing Michael. He's predicting a W here, but then
We
there's
got a dub. That's confidence right there.
couple L's there. Yeah. So okay, you're 1-2 on the year, and then you are on the you have a couple of you have a long what?
Yeah, we have a couple of home
Sorry,
games.
this is crazy, folks. I'm seeing this for the first time. Okay, this is the 25th episode. I've looked at a lot of schedules. You have 5 home games in a row.
Yeah, it's
wow.
it's a little absurd. It's a little absurd.
That is amazing. Okay,
It is.
So you are home again for the 3rd week in a row, and you welcome in the Chicago Bears. Win or lose this game.
So last year when we played them, before the game, I was like, if we don't beat them, we're atrocious. Spoiler alert, we didn't beat them. so like I was just sitting there like, how are we losing to them? But you want to know what the real reason we lost? We had Mike Glennon at the quarterback position. Like we weren't going to win that. If Mike Glennon is not there at quarterback, and not that Daniel Jones is any better, not that he's not that as bad as Mike Glennon either, but he's not like a saving grace.
Yeah.
If Daniel Jones is playing at quarterback, because I think he's a better quarterback than Justin Fields right now. The stats say otherwise. Justin Fields, I think, had the worst QBR of any rookie quarterback like ever, something like that. I read a stat like that. It was ridiculous. I think Daniel Jones can. This will be the game where he proves himself that he will take this team in the right direction. I'm going to say that we are tied here at the 2-2. I think we're going to beat the Bears.
Okay.
Even though we lost to them last season, I think we can turn around this year. People need to be healthy though.
Okay.
That's how we're going to beat them.
Okay, I gotta give a shout out here to our Bears representation of MOOF, APW Sports. He
says definitely not beating my Bears. I mean, we have to see. My girlfriend is a Bears fan, by the way. So,
okay, that'll be a fun week. For
I'm
you.
sure she won't like. Look, it wasn't fun last time we watched it together. I mean, she was fine. She was having the time of her life. I was miserable.
East Coast Gridiron, good to see you as well. He's predicting a win there. We got a couple other wins in the chat. Bengals Report 18 saying tie.
Oh, come on now. Come on now. Don't do that to me. Not with the Bears.
Man. So you're 2-2 on the year. And then why not, of course, you have another home game.
Technically, that's not home. That's in London. That's the England game.
Right. I'm seeing it. Okay, so technically it's not 5 home games in a row.
It's not. It could be viewed that way, but they're going to England, which I think is a worse situation. I think that's worse.
Makes sense to me. Yeah.
So
the schedule makers.
You're good.
You that okay?
No, they definitely messed that up. They didn't specify.
Yeah. So anyway, so you are in London playing the Green Bay Packers. You don't seem like
that's going to be probably the worst game to date on the schedule. We're going to England, so you got the jet lag, the whole getting adjusted to the time frame, and then you got to go against Aaron Rodgers. Why are they doing the Giants like this? Like, so we got prime time against the Cowboys. Okay, the week 3 early in the season, and then you're gonna throw us in England with the Packers against Aaron Rodgers. They did us dirty. I don't know. That's probably an L. I want to be positive, but that's an L. That's a flat L.
Okay, no, that's fair. That's fair.
I hate the Packers, but I can't. There's no way.
All L's in the chat.
There's no way. I agree.
Grandizer is the past.
Very optimistic.
Yep.
Very optimistic. Very optimistic.
APW Sports says you have a good girlfriend.
I have a good girlfriend. Thank you. I do. She would love to see that.
So you're 2-3 on the year, and then you, after going across the pond, you're flying back home, and you welcome in the Baltimore Ravens. This is a brutal start to the schedule.
It is. It's not the schedule start that you want, because the Giants are the type of team that need some sort of, I don't want to say spoon feeding, but where we are in our development as a franchise, you kind of need to be spoon-fed some wins to feel more confident. And we're going to be coming back from the Packers, which I'm telling you, I think minimum the Packers are going to score like 34 points. At minimum. I don't see us doing anything to stop Aaron Rodgers. We're going to be coming off a loss like that to play against a team that you could say is almost as talented in other areas. it's just, I don't know. With Dominic Martindale, that does kind of add a little bit of a factor because he knows their offense, at least because he's been practicing with them.
Yeah.
And Dominic Martindale is a great defensive coordinator, so maybe he can keep this a low scoring game, maybe, and then we somehow can either that leaves you an opportunity to win by a field goal, but that's tough. So it's like if you have those kind of odds, I can't say the Giants win. If we need that much help, I'm gonna have to give that to the Ravens. I think I'm gonna have to give it to the Ravens.
Okay. So that's 2-4 on the year. See a couple of L's in the chat, except Grandizer is
very optimistic.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And for the same reason,
he does know the Ravens. Yeah.
That's fair.
But I mean, look, Dominic Martindale doesn't coach the offense.
Yep.
That's where it all. That's where our problems are.
Yep. So then, okay. Now we got some games here.
He's looking at it and he's like, all right.
Here we go. You're on the road. You're traveling to Jacksonville in week 7 to take on the Jaguars. Is this a game that the Giants can win?
For me, this game is going to be a little bit personal because Evan Ingram is over there now.
Right.
And if anyone's watched my podcast like you have, I despise Evan Ingram, and I think he's a bum. And I like, he was one of the most biggest disappointments in the Dave Gettleman era, like drafting wise, like in the first round. Like he was supposed to be elite, and he just wasn't. He always got injured. He was always dropping passes in key moments. I think the Giants win this one, not just because it's the Jaguars, but hopefully they want to just stick it to Evan Ingram. Maybe, I don't know, because Evan Ingram has definitely lost us some games. Single-handedly. Like,
no, that's it's as a football fan, you feel those wounds from those players. That you're just like, come on, like no, I feel that.
Nobody wants to be an Evan Ingram.
Yeah. So you're 3-4 on the year. That's a big win for the Giants. See a couple of W's in the chat. And Grandizer predicts an L there.
Wow. Oh, come on now. That's funny.
Oh, man.
It could happen.
It's
the Giants.
3-4, and then you're traveling to Seattle. So the Ramblings going to be cheering you on this week.
Yes.
You're taking on the Seahawks. Win or lose week 8.
Now, normally if they had Russell Wilson, I would say we lose. But not having a quarterback in today's game, or not having a sure quarterback, like you don't know if that's your quarterback, that's really difficult. You can't really overcome that issue. Wide receivers aren't good enough to make a quarterback better nowadays. It's the quarterback is really the one that's making everyone better. So that gives us an opportunity to potentially, and if we're coming off a win from the Jaguars, we have a little bit of positive momentum. I think that it's a possible win just because they don't have Russell Wilson. That's how much more important he is to that team than without them. So,
okay, so you're giving yourselves the W.
That's more of a. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm a little biased, but I just want us to get that dub. I really want it.
Okay.
It's the dub that I think that we can get to turn everything around.
I love it when the Seahawks lose, so nothing wrong with that at all. But you know what? That's a big win because by your prediction, you have them after 8 weeks. You have the Giants at 4-4 at 500, which I think Giants fans would be over the moon if that's the place.
I'd be elated at 500. It's better than having a losing season.
Well,
it's better.
That does bring us to week 9, which is your bye week, which means it's time for
Bye Week Hot Takes. The hottest takes on the bye week.
Yes, it's time for Bye Week Hot Takes, the part of the show where we take a little break from predicting games and we talk about some hot takes about the team that we are talking about. I've found 3 hot takes from all corners of the internet, Twitter spaces, random comment sections on NFL.com and Facebook groups. Giants fans talk a massive amount, so this was not hard to find. I tried to find the takes that I saw this quite often from multiple Giants fans, all 3 of these takes, and Jamie here has not seen any of them. He's going to react raw. He's going to tell us his thoughts, if that's a good take, or if he said, that's preposterous. So the first one here, and again, I don't want you to feel hurt by this, but this did come from Giants fans. The Giants will get the first overall pick next season.
I wasn't ready to see that. I wasn't ready to see that. So they're implying that we just lose every single game? Almost?
I guess so.
Like, you would have to lose basically almost every game and just pray that you get the number one. I mean, you legitimately just get the number one if you lose every game. So I don't know. That person has been through a lot of depression watching the Giants. I can tell you that. That person is probably still stuck in the days where we won our last 2 Super Bowls and wants it to be that way. I used to be like that. I had to very quickly realize times are different, and it's just you have to just accept that you're in a different era, and you just got to go through it. I'm going to say that is a hot take that I don't agree with because I want to be more optimistic. He's just already accepting that we just are going to lose.
Yeah.
And that's the loser's mentality that's been adapted by a lot of people in the Giants community. It's like really sad. Yeah. And you have the small portion of people like me who want to be optimistic and believe we could do better. But majority of us are like, no, we're done. Just tank. Just get better draft picks to make the whole team different. But that's so unrealistic. I can't go on that train and just, let's just lose every season and just get number one picks every year. No.
It's a fair take. It's a fair take. So I appreciate your insight into the emotional state of some Giants fans. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the next one. This one's a little more. If you could maybe expand on it. Kenny Gallaudet needs to be traded. It was a bad contract, and the Giants need to move on.
I have been saying that since week 3 of last season. So Kenny Gallaudet is worth way too much. I don't think he's overpaid. He's getting $76 million on 4 years. The guy had under 500 yards receiving last year. Granted, he was hurt, but even when he was playing, he wasn't really doing a lot. Now, I have a friend who's a diehard Lions fan. Diehard. Like, you want to talk about diehard? He's a diehard Lions fan. He's not unrealistic, but he is faithful. He believed that Matt Stafford made Kenny Gallaudet the way he was. It wasn't that Kenny Gallaudet was that talented. He believed that Matt Stafford made him a better receiver. And I can see that because you take Matt Stafford away from Kenny Gallaudet, and then you put Kenny Gallaudet on a team with a bad line, a not a good quarterback, a bad offensive coordinator. He doesn't do anything. But he looks so great with a great quarterback, with a decent, I don't want to even say their offensive coordinator was good. They're okay. They weren't great. He did a lot better with that, but it was Matt Stafford. Yeah. So I agree with this. Whoever said this, he's onto something, and he's correct. I agree. Kenny Gallaudet should be traded. We never should have signed him for that much money. If we had signed him, maybe onto like a $30 million deal. I don't know, like maybe a $30 million, like 2-year deal or like maybe 3-year deal. I don't know. He's not worth what he's getting paid. I'll tell you that until he proves me otherwise.
I will say this. I found this in a particular comment section that was debating the Kenny Gallaudet contract versus the Christian Kirk contract. So interesting debate in the comment section there. Anyway.
No, you can talk a lot about it. He's just overpaid. And it's like, you could make that argument. It's like, we could get these players for less and probably have more value from them just looking at their numbers.
Absolutely. Oh, and then our third and final hot take here. This is a fun one. It says Daniel Jones is on his last chance to prove he can be a starting quarterback and shake the bust label. I feel like it would be really hard. Like I feel like Daniel Jones is in that territory of like he's about to be a journeyman quarterback. Mm-hmm. But he's not quite there yet because of the way his contract is with the Giants. But do you see Daniel Jones balling out and possibly earning a second contract with the Giants?
So I feel people quickly forget how great of a first rookie season he had with the resources he was given. The guy had some great rookie numbers that nobody, myself included, expected him to get because he didn't really have a line. Saquon was out. Evan Ingram was out. Sterling Shepard was out. And the guy still had a really good rookie year season. I think he had I don't remember the numbers per se, but I know that it was up there with like Peyton Manning's in terms of like his stats. And I was just like, that's crazy. Even his touchdown to interception ratio was pretty damn good. Mm-hmm. His only stinker he really had that season was against the Patriots on, I think, Thursday Night Football. Again, with no O-line, bad coach, bad, like just everything was bad. And Bill Belichick was his opponent with, I believe, Tom Brady. And not Tom Brady. I'm sorry. I don't even remember who the quarterback was. It was Tom Brady's on the Bucs at the time. So, and that was the only real bad game he had where he threw like 4 interceptions. And that's understandable. He was a rookie quarterback and he was going against Bill Belichick on Thursday Night Football with like nobody. So you take that Daniel Jones and you put him on a team with a competent coach that actually can, direct the offense in the right direction it needs to go. Offensive line that's in a better state. It's not great, but it's in a way better state than it was 3 years ago. And then if Saquon can stay healthy, he's a big piece of our offense. He's majority of our go-to plays when it comes to the run plays, when it comes to play action, or even throwing screen passes. Like, we need him in the lineup for it to actually work. Play action doesn't work if Saquon's not on the field. Like, we know he's not going to get the ball. Like, that's obviously a play action. Like, why would this person who's not Saquon get the ball? like, just think about it. So it's like, you have to give Daniel Jones a team. He's the type of person that needs a team. He can't be Superman. So this is his last chance to prove that he doesn't necessarily need to be Superman, but he needs to be able to fit in a system where he actually has time to develop plays. Like, I usually will count how much time he has to read plays. The dude has under 2 seconds. Yeah. By the time he's in his drop step, there's someone in his face already about to sack him. What quarterback can play like that?
He said no O-line, yeah.
Yeah, like what? No, I don't know any quarterback that can play with a line like that. You have less than 2 seconds to make a read. You basically have to say "hut" and just throw it. Like, that's not realistic. You can't do that. You have to be like a video game character. Like, you just have to know where everyone's going to be. That's not possible. So if you give him a stable like setup, let's see how he does with that. And under this new management and new coaching staff, let's see what he does. I think this is his final year. I agree. This is his final year. He doesn't do anything with it, even get close to 500. He's done. Okay. And he'll be a journeyman, like you said.
Yeah. Well, I definitely Daniel Jones is, because I think off the field, he's a guy that, he's very likable. He's someone that you root for from a like person perspective. But I understand the frustration of Giants fans for sure. Oh, yeah. But this has been
Bye-Week Hot Takes. The hottest takes on the bye week.
Oh, I love that segment.
I was about to say I enjoy that.
Yeah, that was a fun time. Well, before the bye week, I did see you predict 4-4 for the Giants season, and I think Giants fans would be ecstatic with that. And here you are, week 10. You welcome the Houston Texans to town. Can the Giants go above 500?
I want to say yes, but sometimes the Giants do things that don't make sense, like lose to a team that's arguably worse than them in terms of their cultural dynamic, because there's almost no culture in the Houston Texans at this point, with all that drama and everything that happened in the locker room with Deshaun Watson and all that other stuff. Even though Deshaun Watson's not there, they're still feeling the impacts of all that stuff that's happening. And a team that's hasn't really been doing anything, I think we have a chance to win. But like I said, the Giants do things that don't make sense. We lose to teams that we're not supposed to lose to. And then we beat teams we weren't supposed to beat. I want to say we win this, but I want to say we somehow mess this up. Somehow we mess this up. There's something that's going to happen. Giants fans that watch every single game know what I'm talking about when I say something is going to go wrong. And it won't make any sense. And we just lose the game.
So you're predicting an L there?
I think we're going to lose. I hate to say it, but I think it's going to happen.
Okay. Well, that's 4-5 on the year. And then you face the Detroit Lions in New York. Lions have a lot of offseason hype right now. What are your thoughts on this game? And do you think you can get back to 500 on your prediction?
It's going to sound like I'm going back and forth, but I think the Giants will pull this one off. It's a home game. It's the Lions. I'm sorry to any Lions fans that might be watching. It's the Lions. I think, and plus, there are times where we lose a game we weren't supposed to, and then the next week, I guess they just take their anger out on the next team, and they play really well, like the best I've seen them play, and then they win. So that could be this game, and I think that we'll be back at 500. I think that's actually what's going to happen.
Okay. You're 5-5. I do see a couple of wins versus Houston there.
We got W at Houston. See, I want to believe that, but at the same time, you never know.
It seems like the chat is actually opposite of your prediction here, where they think you're going to beat Houston.
Look, both are possible.
Yeah.
Both are possible. Chat, I agree. Either way, both are possible.
So 5-5, and then week 13. Or sorry, you're on a short week in week 12, and for the second time of the year, you are playing the Dallas Cowboys. Win or lose, it's in Dallas in Jerry World.
I hate to say this. I think we might get swept again in the division against the Cowboys. It's a short week, less time to prepare. I don't know what the Cowboys situation will be by then, but we got swept by them last year due to injury, really, not really just because of play, but a lot of it happened with we just had third stringers playing. Mm-hmm. We don't know if that could happen again. There could be situations where key players are out. And I think the Giants just lose again. I think we get swept. I hate to say it.
Well, and it's always tough, those divisional losses just sting a little bit more,
Oh, yeah. Especially the Cowboys. Like, man.
Yeah. Well, your 5-6 prediction on the year, and then you get another divisional. You are divisional heavy at this stretch of the season.
Yeah.
13, you welcome, for the first time this season, the Washington Commanders, win or lose, at home facing the Commanders.
So we're at home. That kind of adds a little bit of an element to me that I think would help the Giants. Mm-hmm. And also Daniel Jones's record against the Washington Commanders is positive, believe it or not. And I think that that's a possibility that we could pull this out. I think at most it'll be like a low-scoring game. I don't think it's going to be dominant on either side. I think it'll be a low-scoring game, and I think somehow the Giants could pull this one out at home.
Okay. That's 6-6, 500 on the year. And Grandizers, he's saying a W there. And then another Michael saying W.
L the commies.
SM. Okay, yeah. The commies. For the record, I actually think that like the Commanders as a name is fine. And I did my episode of MOOF for the Washington Commanders last week. Mm-hmm. And I do like the nickname of Commander Carson. I think it's got a nice ring to it.
Actually, it doesn't sound that bad. Yeah, Commander Carson. Okay.
I don't know if a nickname can win them many games, but like
we'll have to see what Carson does. I don't know how he's going to execute.
Well, you're 6-6 on your prediction, and then you have another divisional game. First time facing the Eagles this year. It's in New York. Win or lose against the Eagles, or versus the Eagles.
So last season, I went to the Eagles-Giants game when it was at our stadium. We won, but it was extremely low scoring, and the Eagles almost were able to pull off a win somehow in the final minute. I know that the Eagles fans and the Eagles team as a whole are probably still thinking about that and the fact that they tied with us last season.
Right.
I don't know. They got AJ Brown now. Man, I don't know. Their team's kind of stacked. They also have James Bradbury, who was on our team, and I know that game's going to be personal for him because he had a really bad, I don't want to say a falling out, but the way his performance was with us in the last season wasn't great, and I feel like maybe there's a little bit of angst there from leaving the New York franchise. Who knows? I think the Eagles will unfortunately beat us at home, and I people who know me know that is really hard for me to say.
Hey, safe space, let it out, take a deep breath. So the chat here kind of agreeing with you here. SM thinks you're going to win there. Okay.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
I like the optimism.
So you're 5-7 on your prediction, and then you face the Washington Commanders again, this time in Washington. Are you going to get swept by the Commanders? I know you predicted you predicted an L.
I think it's 6-7. I think I'm at 6-7.
My mistake. 6-7.
No, you're okay. Yeah. You're good.
Yeah.
So I think this is where it gets tough, man, because it's back-to-back divisions. Like Cowboys, Commanders, Eagles, Commanders again. Like that might be a loss too. I can't see, because losing to your division rival and then having to play another division rival following that, and it's like every game counts. That's a lot of stress on your mental. I'm gonna say that we probably lose this one too. I think there's gonna be L's coming in. I think this is where the L's start coming in. So I could put this at 6-8.
Yep. Okay, this is 6-8, and I do see SM predicting a tie versus the Commanders.
Interesting.
A couple of L's.
I think so too.
Couple L's in here. Okay. All right. So you're 6-8, and then you travel to Minnesota to take on the Vikings in Minneapolis. Win or lose?
I went to a Vikings-Giants game at home in New York. They destroyed us. It was really bad. We could not stop. Oh my goodness, who's that running back again over there?
Cook?
Yeah, Dalvin Cook. We could not stop him. That was a problem. I think that's an L too. I think we lose. I don't think we're gonna get blown out, but I think it will be like a tough game, but we're gonna lose. I think that's a tough loss.
Okay. That's so 6-9 on the prediction, and then week 7. This is a brutal end of the schedule. Wow,
it is.
Week 17 is your final home game of the year. Probably fan appreciation game, and hopefully they do something better than a medium soda this year.
Oh, they better not do no medium soda again. That was a slap in the face. They could have did anything else. Anything else.
But you welcome in the Indianapolis Colts. Win or lose versus the Colts.
That's a team that's always consistently like decent no matter what their situation is. And coming up on the end of the season is when they're usually better. So I think, like I said, I think these are where the L's come in. I think we actually lose this game too. I think it's just we just finish off weak because, like you said, the schedule is just rough.
Yeah. Okay. That's 6-10, but there's one game left. It's week 18 versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Can the Giants end on a win to provide some optimism towards next year? Win or lose in Philly?
Hear me out. I think that the Giants will win this because maybe the Eagles will be in a situation where they need one more game to win and to get into the playoffs. And maybe, just maybe, if we win, they don't get in. And that's the big FU on the way out. I think that the Giants can somehow pull this off in Philly. It'll be a close game, but I think somehow the Giants will will themselves to a victory. And I think that's how we finish it. We finish it on a good note.
Okay, there you go. Wow. Okay, so ended off on a high note, but a 7-10 prediction. I think as a Giants fan, first year new head coach after last season,
I'll take it.
That'd be exciting.
Yeah, I'll take it. And new GM, it kind of proves that you're in the new era. There's no longer you need to worry about the shenanigans and the drama and all this other stuff where we're signing people. It doesn't make any sense, and I can't.
Quarterback sneak on a 3rd and 13.
Oh God! Or even like they've had worse plays than that. They've had like they'll call run plays like a dive play on like a 3rd and 17. I'm like, why? Like they're like, oh, maybe they would have been confused. It's like no, that no.
Well, I'm just looking at the chat here. I did see SM thinks you will upset the Colts.
Okay, upset alert. I like that.
And Michael thinks you're actually gonna beat Minnesota. Never trust Kirk Cousins. Okay.
Okay. Well, it's not Kirk Cousins we have to worry about. It's Dalvin Cook because we did not stop. We did not stop him. He must have ran almost 200 rushing yards. It was ridiculous. We could not stop him. It was bad.
Grandizer, every episode always provides these fun tidbits of information. So the Vegas over/under is 7.5. He's predicting a 5-9-1 record. Year one of rebuild, new GM, new head coach. Yeah, there's lots. If anything, the Giants fans can be optimistic of there's lots of new beginnings, right? It really is a new era, as you said.
Right.
And there was a really great question here I started from Michael. He said, do you still trust Daniel Jones quarterbacking the team, or do you want Tyrod Taylor as the week 1 starter?
That's a great question, Michael. I would say what I said earlier about how his team wasn't necessarily built around him. Daniel Jones is that kind of guy that needs to have his team around him. Let's see week 1 how he does. with everyone under the new coach and everything. Let's see what he does with that. And if, let's say by week 2 or 3, we're not sure, put Tyrod Taylor in. Because, I mean, at that point, it's still early in the season. You could still turn it around before it's too late. But don't wait until like week 5 or 6 to figure it out. Like, they need to figure this out within the first like 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So I think we give Daniel Jones one more shot. And it's a big one last shot because he's technically already had his last shot last season. But they were like, you know what, we'll keep him. And I think mainly that was money reasons. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think there was a way that we could have moved Daniel Jones to a different team and it would have been affordable for us because our cap salary was just non-existent almost. So I think we were just forced to give him one more shot. so let's see what he does with it.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Let's see what he does with it. I think he has a chance to prove people wrong.
Mm-hmm. So I'm seeing a 7-9-1 from SM.
I'll take the record too.
6-11.
6-11 is realistic.
Yeah,
I'm not really mad at that. It's a team that needs to rebuild, and they need to establish a new culture and establish a new, it's just overall tempo, everything. It's hard to do that day one. Like, you can't just do that.
Mm-hmm. Well, Jamie, this has been so fun. This has been awesome.
It was great.
We are going to end it there, but before we do, just tell our viewers, what kind of stuff do you do on your channel? I know the link to your channel is in the description below. Give your channel a shout out.
All right. So, and thank you, by the way, Peo, for the shout out. I appreciate it and the support. I really do appreciate it. Sure. What my mom and I do is it's called the Mother and Son Post Game Show for the New York Giants. It's called Family Bonding. And basically, my mom and I talk about the Giants. We talk about off-season moves, whether it's drama with coaches or players leaving, players coming to sign, just overall any sort of Giants news that you think that you would want to learn about or hear about. We talk about it, and we try to have a regular schedule where we post at least weekly to every 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Sometimes I know we're slower during off-season because there's just less stuff happening. Yeah, but yeah, but regular season, every game we are basically posting videos immediately after the game is over. You'll see it pretty much the same night. So that's what we do on our channel over there, and we take a lot of criticism. We take both good and bad criticism. We don't care if you think that we don't know what we're talking about. That's fine. We get emotional. It's okay to get emotional. Fans are allowed to be emotional. Never Absolutely. Let someone tell you you're not allowed to get emotional.
Well, and I was telling anyone who's watching. I was telling Jamie off screen just last season. One of my favorite things that I did every week was just because the Giants were kind of a train wreck that was so entertaining to watch. But hearing Jamie and his mother break down the Giants game and just off the field PR nightmare that was the New York Giants, it was amazing. One of my favorite parts about last season that was outside of the Rams going on. But definitely go subscribe to New York Giants Family Bonding. You will not regret it. And Jamie, stick around. Everyone else, thank you so much for tuning in to episode 25 of MOOF. Stay tuned. We only got this is crazy. We only got 7 teams left. We're on the home stretch of this series, and excited for each and every episode. We will see you in the next episode of MOOF. Have a great evening, everybody.